There is one body language weapon that JD Vance used at the debate, and you're about to learn how to use it right now. You know that I published my full analysis, very long, of the debate between JD Vance and Tim Walz, and I might have missed some details, such as this one. I mentioned it passingly, his complicit look or stare, and I'm going to play this video so you can get the full context of it.
But here we are again, 9 years after he came down that escalator, dehumanizing people and telling him what he was going to do. As far as the deportation plan, at one point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable.
So what I meant at that point is that, well, first of all, I mentioned that you can see that when Tim Walz was speaking, JD Vance made sure to look at him with attention. He made sure to not have any sort of facial expression, and I also mentioned that that was important, to have a neutral facial expression, not nod at anything that Walz was saying, and not having any particular like, oh, I'm worried about his, no, just paying attention. But at very precise points, throughout Tim Walz's interventions, JD Vance did this. And you can see by the way he is looking straight into the camera, this is what we call breaking the fourth wall. Like when we are watching a TV series or a movie and one of the characters looks at the camera or at us or interacts with us, okay? So that is breaking the fourth wall. And in this case, it was like what I call a complicit stare. And what is a complicit stare? I think the best example is like maybe at some point you were at school and you had a friend that was sitting like 2 rows away from you or on the other side of the classroom. And maybe at some point the teacher said something that was like an inside joke for your friend and you. And you look in his direction and he looked back at you, and without saying anything, you already know that both of you were thinking the same. Okay, it was funny. You didn't have to say a word, but you knew what both of you were thinking, the inside joke. It happens also in family reunions. Maybe with your significant other, you are sitting with some distance between you, and someone says something funny that you already know what's going to happen, and you look in your significant other's way, and he or she looks at you, and you both connect, and you know what you're talking about. That is the complicit stare or look that JD Vance was using for the audience at that moment. Now, I don't know if he was doing that on purpose or this was just connect with the camera, because I noticed that both Tim Walz and him were looking at the camera when they were speaking, which, well, helps connect with the audience. But Tim Walz, at no point he looked at the camera when Vance was speaking. This is something that only Vance did. And you can see in the example that we were playing that it's like he uses that gesture as in saying, can you believe what this guy is saying? And it's a way to connect with the audience in a way that you don't use words whatsoever. And most important, this is something that he did like every, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes, maybe more, 10 minutes. He did not do it all the time. Sometimes Walz spoke about certain topics and Vance never did this. Maybe he did this like 6 or 7 times in 90 minutes. It's like not overdoing it, but it's a great way that you can use when you want to connect with your audience. It could be maybe you're not a televised debate that is going to be a very specific situation, but maybe you are giving a presentation to your audience and you have to play a clip or a movie like what I'm doing right now. Maybe you have seen like when I play a clip and maybe I'm watching the clip, but I look at you at the same time like to connect with you. I use that complicit stare with you because I feel like you are here with me watching the video. And you can do it if you are giving a public speech and you have to play a video. You just don't stare at the video and wait for it to end. No, you give people a stare every now and then to connect with them and react with them, because we react, we connect with our faces. This is very important. We have very specific areas of our brains to connect with our faces and our emotional displays, or facial emotional displays. So without saying a word and without having any sort of or special facial expression, you can convey that. Now, having said that, I could say that Vance was doing this on purpose because there is a facial expression to this. This is not his resting face. This is not a neutral expression. There is a pressure on his eyes. There is a pressure on the corner of his lips. There is the head tilt. There is the head angle in which you know it's something that he is not turning his face completely to the camera, but just enough for the eyes to connect with the camera, just as you would do with your friend in the classroom. That is the way. That's the theory that I could have, that he did this on purpose. When Tim Walz was going, well, all outrageous, let's connect with the public with a very, very quick and very natural complicit stare. And one component that is important and many people miss when you want to do this kind of things in a natural way is the speed at which you do them. If you do them too slowly or too fast, they will look fake. It's usually better to do them slowly at first. Any gesture, any fast gesture usually looks fake. That's why we were talking about Tim Walz, exaggerated gestures that look, well, exaggerated. But this was just the right cadence to say that, okay, this guy is just nuts. Whatever he's saying is so outrageous that, can you believe what this guy is saying? That's the sentence that J.D. Vance was saying with his eyes, with his facial expression, just a split second at very precise moments of that debate. Again, it could have been totally spontaneous. It could have been on purpose. Maybe he knows how to do it, and maybe he wanted to connect with the audience in that way, and that worked perfectly for him. Now, there are many other body language tips that he did, especially the way that he uses his hands at solar plexus level. It was very powerful, the way he spoke to the audience. But it's these tiny details that, that add that touch of humanity that help you connect with an audience, even if that audience is at the other side of a camera. But still, I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember to download my 100 free body language tips in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.